Good morning, everyone. Industrial Development Board, under the guidance of Ministry of Industries, conducted a national exhibition from 22nd to 25th of July of this year. Parallel to this event, IDB has launched a virtual exhibition platform and conducting awareness program for 21 sectors. So today we are going to discuss about conducive technological environment for high quality textile and apparel product manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka. So to discuss regarding the matter, we have invited Mr. Ilang Govan, Director Technical and Training from Sri Lanka Institute of Textile and Apparel. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
And we have cordially invited Mr. Saraj Vijay Bahu, Chief Technologist from Sri Lanka Institute of Textile and Apparel. Welcome you, sir. So we can start the discussion. So as we know, the textile and apparel industry in Sri Lanka is a significant sector that contributes to the country's economy. It is one of the largest employers and foreign exchange earners in the country. So would you like to elaborate on this, Mr. Ilango?
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Nadija. So, textile and apparel industry. So, before I attempt to elaborate the industry, I would like to give some thoughts or views of these textiles and the apparels. The textiles, it is with human. You say food, shelter, clothes. These are the basic need of a human. Out of three, if we ask anyone which is the first, generally everyone says food. But if you go a little deeper, there are people who lives without shelter. You can see under the bridge or the street, the pavements, even within the Colombo city. We have seen people live that. But definitely there are piece of cloth with them to cover their body. So on the other hand, if you look at the food, so food is very important. Without food, we can't live. But some couple of days we may able to manage without food. But can you imagine the clothes? Without clothes, how people live? I believe always 24 hours, which is the one always with our body. The moment we just come out from the womb from mother, the textile, the cloth product which touches the body. From just born infant onward, the journey with the life, the textile clothes also with our life. When the infant grows, it's come to daycare, then later to the Montessori and schooling. Every step there are plenty of clothes, dresses, fabrics, textile products used by the child. So from that beginning of school life up to 13 years of school life, again various school uniforms and other clothes. There's a separate clothes for the tutorees, and also various functions, festivals, cultural events. Likewise, time to time, continuously we purchased clothes and textile products for general life. Even after the school life, or be a employee, or maybe the higher education students, again another set of different type of clothes and products needs for him or her. Likewise, when you come to the marriage life, there's a wedding, then wedding dresses and clothes, suits, and different type of textiles products need by a human. So finally, the journey continue until the final parade, our final journey. The textiles and the clothes products with us, even in the final journey, where we are dresses very well, coat suit and nice dresses, and end of the journey. So it indicates from womb to tomb during the entire life, the textile and apparel is with us. So the industry, textile and apparel industry, is the greater responsibility to provide such textile and apparel needs of this human in the entire world. So if you say in our country, example, say 22 million population, if one citizen use 1 meter of fabric, there's a 22 million meter of fabric clothes need at a time. But real life, we all know, not only just a 1 meter, we all has number of clothes, number of other textile products. So approximately we say 10 meter, even more is there. The 10 meter per person, that means 220 million meters of textile or cloth products needed. So if you calculate this worldwide, billions of textile products, textile fabrics needed. To fulfill this need of the entire society in the world, the industry is playing vital role to manufacture this product. So textile and apparel industry, if you can more focus on the textile and apparel industry in our country, it has nearly more than 100 years of history. It starts in early 19s. As per the record says, something around 1905 or something, the famous Vellavatta spinning mill, it was established in that period. The many of the new generation may not know, but the Havelock city town, in Havelock town, it is the place where the Vellavatta spinning mill was established, which is the textile yarn manufacturing factory. I believe that is the textile industry journey started. In 1950s, with the growth of the national textile corporations are established. We are well known Lanka Textile, the famous Vatex materials manufactured, Pugoda Textile in Pugoda, Tultex in Tulliria. Later it was named as a Kabul Lanka. With that, more factories, Kundan Marks, Syntex, hybrids. There are many textile factories. Some of factories still, the Cliptex, Fatmavi mills, such a factory still continues their journey. With that one in 70s, with the multi-fiber agreement, the different dimension it the career starts. The apparel, ready-made cloth manufacturing in early 90s with the 200 garment factory concept in our country. It's a boom for the apparel manufacturing. Later we got quota pre-concept and GSP and GSP plus. Likewise, this entire industry has shaped and moved forward to the upper end. Now the textile and apparel industry in the country is the largest and number one industry in the country, which provide nearly 1 million employment, approximately 350 direct employments, and also generate 5 billion USD per annum. The export-oriented industry, specifically, it exports the ready-made clothes to the USA and Europe market, where the quality and the other compliances are very much expected. So such a very big industry, the textile and apparel industry, we have the long historical background, and also it is a huge contribution, nearly 7 to 9% of GDP of the economy is contributed by this textile and apparel industry.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much for that explanation. It's been a great one, I think, for the audience to listen. So I would like to ask from Mr. Vijay Bahu, can you please explain about the production and business segment and other industries related to textile and apparel industry in Sri Lanka?
Thank you very much, Nadija. And textile and apparel industry is a very broad area, and there's a two segment. Normally we call there's a double layer segment, the double layer industry, and that means double layer industry means there's a one segment is textile, the other segment is apparel. In the textile segment, there are a lot of segments in the apparel development. That means the apparel segment is normally we call that is start from the fiber to the fabric. That is called the apparel, textile segment. The apparel segment start from the fabric and fabric to finished products. That's a garment, right? This is a main two segment. In these two segments, when we talk about this textile segment, there is a sub sector segments. Like as fiber manufacturing and yarn manufacturing, then fabric manufacturing, and the fabric dyeing, printing and finishing segment. Those are the main three segments in the textile segment. Right. When you talk about the fiber manufacturing segment, that there normally be fiber manufacturing and yarn manufacturing segment. The yarn manufacturing segments can be divided into two parts. So one part is we manufacturing the yarns for fabric manufacturing segment, and again we manufacture the yarn for the thread manufacturing segment, or normally we call the sewing industry. There's a yarn, that means yarn is prepared for the fabric manufacturing and yarn prepared for the sewing purpose. And after that, when we talk about the fabric manufacturing, there are two kind of fabrics. One is the woven fabric, another one is the knitted fabric. When we talk about the woven fabrics, there's a huge segment that we are in Sri Lanka. There are local fabric manufacturers are there. In export market, normally they purchase our local fabric as well as the important fabrics. And when we talk about the woven manufacturing, normally locally we manufacture the fabric for school uniform and for material for the forces requirement. We manufacture those material in the Sri Lanka. That's a huge segment. And when we talk about the export industry, most of fabrics we import from the other countries. Then we have very good supply chain in Sri Lanka, and we import the fabric from woven fabric from the industry for the apparel industry. And when we talk about the knitted fabric manufacturing segment, that also very huge manufacturing segment. In that segment, normally we produce the single. There are two kind of major two kind of fabrics: the single jersey and double jersey. And single jersey materials we produce in the Sri Lanka, and double jersey material also produced in the Sri Lanka. There's a rib and interlock material in Sri Lanka. In that segment, that segment is a very developed segment in Sri Lanka, because knitted fabrics produced for the local manufacture, local production as well as the export production. In Sri Lanka, there are export fabric manufacturing industry located in the different areas in the country. And other than the woven and knitted fabric manufacturing segment, there are another segment that is very important. It's a lace manufacturing segment and pharmaceutical manufacturing segment, and the elastic manufacturing and fully fashion garment manufacturing and socks manufacturing. That segments also established in the Sri Lanka, and those materials used in the local industry as well as the export industry. Right. When we talk about the third segment, this is a fabric dyeing and finishing segment. That also a very vast area. The fabric dyeing segment and fabric printing segment, and as well as there is a fabric finishing segment. When we talk about the fabric dyeing segment, in Sri Lanka there are different segments. There are different dyeing manufacturing method used in the Sri Lanka, and those dyeing materials normally there are two types like that. Normally we produce the fabric locally and we do the dyeing, and some materials we import from as a raw material, and we dye requirement of the customer. And printing also same. We are doing the printing segment in the fabric form as well as the cut fabric form. Both segment is Sri Lanka, and the finishing is most of finishing is done by the locally for the local use of the material, and the very rare, this is a very limited material we import to the Sri Lanka and doing the finishing part in Sri Lanka, but some requirement, what special requirement we are doing those segment that manufacturing segment also, that manufacturing segment in the Sri Lanka. And when you talk, that is a textile segment. That is it's a vast area, as Mr. Ilangon explained. There are 330,000 employees in this area, in this field. From those skilled and talent persons are engaged with this industry in this segment in Sri Lanka. And when you talk about the apparel segment, that also very huge. Normally, when we talk about the apparel industry, there are different layers. The group of companies and large companies and medium companies, then there's small companies and domestic and micro level segments in the Sri Lanka. In these segments, there are a lot of talent, skilled workforce are working, and they are manufacturing different kind of items for import as well, export as well as a local requirement. And as well as you asked, this segment, there are another sub segments related to the textile and apparel. The sub segments are what's the embroider segment. Embroider means that segment is value added to the garment, value added to the not only the garment, value added to the fabric also. Right? They add value to get the high earnings, or they add value to develop add value to develop the innovative fabrics, innovative textile, and innovative garment, not only textile, garment also. Right? They are doing the embroidery. You can see on the background of the slide, then you can see the embroidery machine. This type of industry, this type of segment in the Sri Lanka. And as well as this one thing is value, we are doing the value adding part by the embroidery, and again we can add value by the printing. The printing technology is vastly developed in the Sri Lanka. Normally we cater local market as well as the export market. They add value to give the more revenue, to bring the more revenue to the country, as well as we develop export level product and the garment in Sri Lanka by using different printing technology. We have digitalization printing technology and embellishment printing technology and laser printing technology and heat transfer printing technology. And not only that, in this segment, the printing segment, they are producing label and other accessories for the garment manufacturing. That also very important to the local manufacturers as well as the export manufacturers. They can use those locally printed label and stickers and the other required trims and accessories. Right? And as well as there is another segment that also coming under the apparel segment. This is leather and footwear. The leather and footwear segment is a very vast area. This is a leather product as well as the footwear product. I think you did the video. This type of discussion regarding the leather and footwear in the IDB. I think that when you see that video clip, then you can get the more idea. However, I will add something. Then the leather and footwear segment, it's a vast area. It's a booming area in the South Asian countries. Then we can use we have natural raw materials. Right? We can develop the natural raw materials. We can use the natural raw materials for manufacturing of the leather and footwear, and also the sustainable industry, sustainable product we are doing manufacturing. That's sustainable means I think the IDB help to develop the sustainable environment product development in the leather and footwear. That also very good because that's why I call this a booming industry. We cater in the leather and footwear segment, cater almost more than 50-60% of the requirement of the local requirement, and the others are import in Sri Lanka. That industry have more potential to expand in Sri Lanka, as well as the leather and footwear we are exporting exporting these products. That also very important. It is very important to bring the dollar income in the Sri Lanka. And there's another segment is accessories. In Sri Lanka, we are producing the accessories, the supportive industry in the garment industry, related to the garment industry, the zippers, buttons. We are manufacturing as well as the value. We are doing the value added activities in Sri Lanka. That segment is a very broader, and some companies are established in Sri Lanka. Then this related to the textile and apparel industry. And I think this is a very wider segment. I think I get more time. Anyway, there is a laundering sector. That also very important. Laundering sector is that's a booming industry in Sri Lanka. Right? The laundering segment is doing for the related to the local customers, and as well as this related to the export market. We are doing the laundering industry. That also a very booming industry in the Sri Lanka, that the industry segment in the Sri Lanka when we talk about the textile and apparel industry. Other than that, what is the embellishment? I think embellishment segment, we talk about the zippers and button like that, and these are the main segment. These are the main and sub segment doing in the textile and apparel industry related to the Sri Lanka.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vijaybabu. I think our audience would have get more knowledge regarding the sector-wise segments. So I would like to ask from Mr. Ilam Grovan, since we know that there are different types of manufacturers, suppliers, buyers, designers in the sector, basically a network we can call it. So how they are managed to work together to deliver the functioning to provide support to the conductive business and environment.
Okay. So yes, it's nice to elaborate these entire segments. Just Mr. Vijaybabu elaborate this. There are major segments and supportive segments. There's a list of group of stakeholders who involved in entire business. So in the past, we were known as a glory of tailoring, where the designs are created or developed in USA or Europe country, that designs brought to Sri Lanka through different international brands, or we call sometimes buyers, or the same agent which operate in Sri Lanka as well. Once this design product which need is developed, then the approach to the local apparel textile factory or apparel sector, then they want to re-engineer or analyze the product, and they have to produce the sample as match with the sample which is given by the foreign buyer. For that one, they would need the correct fabric and the accessories just before mentioned, and the other supporting value-added product which need the garment. Once a sample is approved by the buyer or the brand in USA or Europe, then there are a lot of negotiations regarding the cost component, quality, as well as mainly the time frame. We technically specifically mention as a lead time. And with that background, so the production starts in a local apparel factory within a country. So where they need another segment where what is the fabric, what quantity of materials needed, then what quantity of sewing threads needed, those all together, the production starts. Once the production completed, then it has to be systematically same channel, it is sent to the Western country mainly. So here there are many stakeholders involved and support the business process. One side there's a quality certification units, accredited laboratories, and other side the accessory manufacturers and logistic services. They all together support the industry. But now, rather than getting the designs from the other country, within the country, the designs are created, new creations made in our land. There are plenty of designers, there are innovations, and also research and development as well. So the products mostly now created and developed in the country, and find the suitable textile materials and other accessories, and the product is now originated from the country. So then once you developed the product, they have to seek the market in the international trade. There are huge competition. So they have to participate in the different exhibitions and promote the local product, Sri Lankan manufactured product in the international market. In a short, to look at this, all the segments at present, it all could be classified to three major clusters. One is where product creation, design creation, innovation and research, and the business promotions or business development, which drive the apparel manufacturing unit or the so-called apparel factory, and the other side, fabric manufacturing cluster is known as fabric manufacturing or textile factories. So these are the three major clusters in operation in the country, and with supported by other supporting cluster. So Ms. Nadja, I believe I have covered your questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ilangrovan. So with those factors, I would like to ask from Mr. Vijay Bahu, what are the modern and efficient machinery and equipment used in this sector, in textile and apparel sector in Sri Lanka?
Yes, Naja, when we talk about the modern manufacturing equipment and modern manufacturing machineries used in this sector, and I think it's better to go through the apparel manufacturing system because they are using the lot of modernized machineries and technology to develop their business. And when you talk about the apparel manufacturing segment, it's starting from the fabric to finished garment. The fabric to finished garment in this process, this value chain, normally they are starting from the marketing part. The first step is the marketing part. The second step is the sourcing. Third step is a cutting. That's fabric is cut into the different shapes of the components. And third one is the preparation for the sewing. That part is normally in this stage we are adding the value by embroidering or printing or doing those things. And then sewing. After that sewing, according to the requirement of the buyer, they are doing the washing or ironing and finishing. They are doing the washing parts, or sometimes they are directly do the ironing and packing. And finally, that product go to the warehouse and go to the customer. This is a normal mapping of the apparel product manufacturing system. When you talk about this system, when we talk about the first step is the marketing. Normally we are doing the marketing part in locally as well as the foreign countries. Do the marketing part, they are using different types of methodology as well as the softwares to analyze the market. And the second is the product development. When you talk about the product development, normally most of countries they are doing the manual product development system. That is taking more time and need more human capital. They want to invest more human capital. In Sri Lanka, there are facilities, 3D product development facilities. In that facility, we can use the virtual sample development as well. That is very important. That is time is very low, and we can use the talent young employees to do the creative design and development. That is very time saving technology, as well as we can send that virtual sample to the end customers and get their feedback directly, and based on that do the product development part. And these facilities available in our institute. That not only that, in our institute have the fabric development and design softwares to create the different type of innovative fabrics as well as the material to catch up the customers. And when we come to the value stream mapping in the apparel industry, the third stage is the fabric cutting. When we are doing the fabric cutting, there is an automated fabric laying system and fabric cutting system in Sri Lanka. We have those technology as well as the talent and experience workers in Sri Lanka do the automated fabric laying and cutting. And when we come to the sewing technologies, in the sewing part, in the sewing part we are using the different type of modernized machineries, the latest machineries. In our institute we have the sewing machine, that machines are we can operate by the app. That type of machines we use in our industry, in the Sri Lanka garment apparel industry, and some companies they are using the robotic technology to do the some operation as well as in the cut some material. They use the robotic technology also in Sri Lanka. That is a very important transaction, because to minimize the human capital and to get the consistent quality and to meet the higher productivity and higher efficiency, right? That is very important for the automated sewing machines and robotic technology. And not only that, in the Sri Lanka we use the IoT. We are doing the IoT devices, that means the Internet of Thinking. That devices we use to tracking the production system and get the real-time information regarding the production system and the quality improvements and the quality, maintain the quality, and those things we use the IoT devices to track the, to collect the data and the tracking the data to develop the productivity and the efficiency of the industry. And not only that, we use the cloud-based analytical system to collect the more data to develop the industry and use the others requirement to develop the to develop the innovative and technological things. And when we talk about the textile industry, there is a printing, 3D printing technology we use in the Sri Lanka, and that is very important to develop the 3D printing technology adhere to the apparel industry to add the value to the product. That also that type of practices also doing in Sri Lanka, as well as we train these areas to develop the human as well as the technological things to the industry.
Okay, so Mr. Vijaybahu, can you explain further about the infrastructure facilities available in Sri Lanka for the textile and apparel sector?
Yes, I think I am not focused only for the textile and apparel industry in this infrastructure part. Because of this infrastructure, the Sri Lanka infrastructure environment is favorable for any industry, right? Not only the apparel industry. When we talk about the environment, there's an infrastructure part. There are industrial zones, right? Mainly Katunayake industrial zone also there, and Biagama industrial zone, and Watupitiwala. There are a lot of industrial zones in Sri Lanka. From that, you are doing the business in the industrial zone. There's a lot of tariff benefits to the investors as well as the manufacturers. And the other part is when we talk about the port, it's normally this business, the apparel as well as the other business doing the locally as well as the we doing the business in the globally. Then port is very important, port and airport, right? There is a port, Sri Lanka has the Katunayake airport. There's a cover the western province, and there's another port that covers the southern province. There's a 2 port, international airports available in Sri Lanka, as well as when we research the port, there are 2 ports in the western province as well as the southern province. And not only that, easy to access to access to the airport as well as the port, Sri Lanka have developed highway road system. There's a highway express highway road systems. It's one highway is going to focus to the southern area, other one is focused to the Conducive area. Now it's another highways construction in the what's the central province. Already southern highway and the Conducive highway is already there. And now central province highways now already completed in the Kurunegala, that near the Vatupitivala zone. Right, that's a very easy access to the road development. Right, it is very good, favorable for the investors in the foreign investors of Sri Lanka. And another one is accredited laboratories. There are private as well as government and non-government laboratories, international laboratories in Sri Lanka, and SRITA has the international laboratory and do the test reports and get the accreditation and the reports from those laboratories. And government, other than that, the government is to provide the lot of infrastructure facilities as well as the favorable tax benefits to the investors in Sri Lanka. I think these things, I think you can deeply clarify it by the video clips. I think you can see on the slides the video clip that's developed by the JAFU Joint Apparel.
Sri Lanka, your best apparel sourcing destination. Speed, quality, reliability. Sri Lanka delivers. You have the right to a responsible partner. We offer the solution. Compellingly ethical, green and lean, Sri Lanka has a passion for creating and supplying garments efficiently, whilst protecting those integral to their creation. A belief in making all stakeholders feel safe and protected and meeting all the requisite standards demanded by statutes of state and internationally accepted best practice is central to this partnership of trust. A skilled workforce, nurtured over 3 decades, has the savvy to adapt to changing trends in colors, fashions and materials, and still deliver on time, with a passion for consistent delivery of excellence at every level in the real world of trade and commerce. The trade in Lanka has achieved a resplendent stature and arrived at a stage of maturity where Lankan manufacturers have their own brands, moving beyond the island's borders and into retail fashion houses overseas, homegrown and sold abroad. Clearly, garments from Sri Lanka are able to claim a niche in the high-end range of a very sophisticated marketplace. The industry is sophisticated in another vital direction, ensuring sustainability in a world that is ever more conscious of preserving the environment. Reducing the carbon footprint is a great deal more than a chic catchphrase. Such discipline and technological aptitude is increasingly the platform upon which our industry is built. It began with a determination to assure the welfare of our workforce, and with that achieved, its energies have been directed towards the welfare of the very planet we occupy. The supporting national infrastructure is more and more being made conducive to maintaining an edge in a competitive environment. The most reliable power supplies in the region ensure that production is uninterrupted and flows seamlessly. The transportation and logistics systems are dynamic, mainstream and professionally managed, with a sophisticated customs process that allows for electronic documentation. Excellent end-to-end supply chain management ensures a record turnaround time from placement of the order to manufacturing and delivery. Backward integration creates a steady supply and streamlined quality that you can rely on for all components. Communication systems ensure instant connectivity and are constantly being upgraded, and costs are amongst the lowest in the region. The ease with which international trade is conducted is vital and assured. No wonder that these names are proud to be associated with Sri Lanka. Designed in Sri Lanka. Fabric sourced in Sri Lanka. Accessories sourced by Sri Lanka. Sewn and manufactured meticulously in Sri Lanka. Finished in Sri Lanka. Packaged in Sri Lanka. Shipped from Sri Lanka. All this expertise, timely delivery, efficiency in execution with precision and passion. This is made in Sri Lanka, geared for fast fashion.
Okay, so Mr. Vijayabahu, through this video, we have got to know much more information about the sector. So I would like to ask from Mr. Ilangrovan, since we know there are a lot of need for the labor and skilled workers for any sector, how can you explain the trained workforce availability in this textile and apparel sector in Sri Lanka?
Great. So, Ms. Nadija, just before Mr. Vijayabahu very clearly elaborated that the environment, infrastructure is available in the country, various aspects, and also further he added that sophisticated technology, conducive technological environment in the country, and also the video clip by the JAF give the greater picture of all the supporting services and the environment to perform the industry. So one of the key for any industry is the human. Even though we are in the artificial intelligence era, we are talking about industry 4.0 and even industry 5.0, the direction is going. There are a lot of development, lot of technological development, but everything has to be properly handled by the human. So any industry, the human capital, the human resource, competent workforce is the key for the success of the industry. The textile and apparel industry is a more labor-based industry, labor-intensive industry. So therefore, this industry, it is very important of the competent, skill-based professional human. If you look at in the broader view, there are academic institutions which produces professionals, degree holders, such things. On the other hand, there are some occasional institutions which also greatly support and produce skilled and the professionals which required in the institution, required in the industry. Also, if you look at as a country, our literature, education literature is more than 95%. That's greatly support. That is the school education environment greatly assist the industry growth. And further, the rules, law and regulations and other compliances greatly support to mold and develop human or competent workforce needed by the textile and apparel industry, which greatly support the growth of the textile and apparel industry.
Okay, so Mr. Inangrovan, can you tell about the supporting government and non-government institution relevant to this textile and apparel industry in Sri Lanka?
Thank you, Nadija. Further, as I mentioned, apart from the academic institutions and occasional institutions, other than the institutions, there are government bodies like Board of Investment, even Industrial Development Board IDB, greater contribution, and the Export Development Board EDB, and the ministry itself. There's a division operate under the ministry which govern the entire thing together. And also there are other bodies, especially JAF, Joint Apparel Association Forum, and the tailoring associations and the leather footwear association. Likewise, there's a voice of employee of the sector which brought into the government, the ministry, where they able to make appropriate, conducive decisions, lucrative decisions to perform and support the industry further. And also there are plenty of vocational institutions, NITA and VTA and Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission. So such a government and the private bodies which greatly assist and help the industry to perform and compete the international trade as well as in the local competitive market.
Okay, so finally I would like to ask from both of you, if you may answer, so what sort of help or assistance you can provide to the exporters in this industry to develop their business as an organization?
So, SLITA, Sri Lanka Institute of Textile and Apparel, we have a history of nearly 4 decades. So, we basically known as we provide the technical competent or competent workforce to the industry. And apart from that, we are operating an internationally recognized ISO 1705 accredited commercial based laboratory which almost operate all 7 days to provide necessary quality certification where need for the especially export market, even sometimes for the local market, even for the traders during the export and import of the material to ensure the quality aspects. And also there are many technical issues during the import and export or during the business where the industry people need to get certified the import items and ensure how much of the waste and how much of the product exported. So because they have to declare how much of raw material imported and export this much of amount. Now how is the value addition things? Where the independent certification is necessary, where SLITA is able to provide such as independent certification. Apart from that, technological side as well as the entrepreneurship development, we may be able to guide the new investors, the local investors, smaller scale people or large scale people in every aspects, not only the technical and the business aspects as well also. I believe Mr. Vijayba also may add something as well like that.
No, when in the SLITA, we are providing the 4 major categories to the industry. First one is training, so it's a technical service and technical consultancies and testing. As Mr. Langon explained, the testing, we have laboratory service, we are providing laboratory service, and the training, we are given the training school leavers as well as the entrepreneurs and industrial personnel. We are providing the trainings regarding all the segment which we discussed earlier, targeting all the segment. We are train the people, and we provide this, conduct the training programs, short courses and certificate, advanced certificate and diploma, advanced diploma and degree programs we are conducting. They affiliate with the foreign universities. As well as the Mr. Ilangon explained what are the technical supports we given to the industry, and the technical consultancy also we providing to enhance the productivity and the efficiency of the plant, textile and apparel industry in Sri Lanka. Those are the main contribution and the main services we provide into the industry. In future, we hope to given the safety certificate as well as the planning to given the certification for the different skills workers in the Sri Lanka, as well as the certification for the their industries. Then now we are working those things, and other things is a very important thing. Now we are moved to the research and development side. Then last month we conduct the research symposium also. From that we hope to given the new innovative and technological and new manufacturing methodology the industry to develop in Sri Lanka.
Okay, so with this we are ending the session for today. So thank you so much for joining with us, Mr. Iran Grovan, Director Training and Technical in SLITA, and as well as Mr. Sarath Vijaybahu, Chief Technologist from SLITA. We cordially thank you, both of you. We won't leave a thank you. And I think your information would be very valuable for the audience we have joined today. So thank you so much for joining with us, and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nadija, and also we are very much thankful to the Industrial Development Board for this provide this type of information for the entire nation as well as the foreign investor. We believe this will be more useful for the entire country. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
SLITA, Sri Lanka Institute of Textile and Apparel.